Welcome to the Pitting Combination Podcast. I'm KJ Pilcher of the Gazette alongside Hall of Famer Dick Briggs, ready to talk a little college wrestling. Here we are, the last week of January. Man, it seems like the season's flying by.
Yeah, but it's heating up right now, even if it's cold out. Boy, there's some good action happening. A little bit last week and certainly this week for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go ahead and get started. We'll talk a little bit about Iowa's rebound against Nebraska. We'll discuss kind of a big weekend for Iowa State last weekend, not necessarily results-wise, but kind of things on the periphery of their duels that were pretty cool. UNI got a win against Arizona State at home. We'll also delve into kind of the American Rivers Conference duels that happened this weekend as well. But I also have a blind five for you. We'll sneak in there somewhere. And this one's kind of interesting, I think. So I'll be interested to get your take on it. So look forward to that somewhere in between topics. But let's start with the University of Iowa. Boy, there's a lot of doom and gloom after that Penn State performance. And I think rightfully so, but Iowa rebounded pretty well against Nebraska, number 6 Cornhuskers. Set an attendance record with Iowa coming to town, but it was the Hawkeyes coming away with a 22-14 victory. What did a win like that do you think, for the Hawkeyes?
Well, I think it staved off the keyboard warriors that were pretty vocal and maybe a little bit. So I have to credit. Of course, the whole team, but there's 3 guys that stood out to me that really brought it home. And first and foremost, at 49 rider block, 5-5 match late in the third, and he's going for a trip. And I think. Is it Lamar? Anyway, Lamer just got a little lazy, kept the whizzer on a little too long, and trying to defend the takedown, and ended up going to his back and getting the pin. That's a huge swing right there. That was a critical match. It could have been a 9-point swing if Lamer would have won that match.
Right.
So big swing right there. And I also have to credit Cruz at 25 stepping in, and then Gabe Arnold stepping in. 2 guys stepping in out of the off the bench, so to speak, and so credit to them as well.
The thing about block too is we saw some issues in the third period against Wisconsin where his lead evaporated and he ended up taking a loss. He wrestled Shane Van Ness very tough for 5.5 minutes and then got blown out of the water for the last 90 seconds or so. Him winning in the final 90 seconds of this match, essentially not just winning, but then, hunting for bonus points instead of just being content with getting a takedown and taking an 8-5 lead. I thought that was a big deal for Block, for Iowa, to see him close a match out like that. I think that was huge, especially after the previous 2 weeks.
Right, and what a boost to that team, especially to hit Ryder. But he's been, just as you said, ascending. It seems like from the beginning of the season, and he went from, in my opinion, maybe a All-American round or blood round wrestler to a now he's a high contender. I think maybe for a medal there for sure. But if he keeps ascending like he has. And I will say also this, KJ, I liked Drake Ayala. Drake's been struggling. He's been struggling a lot, I think. But 33 is such a packed weight. I also wondered if he could go down. I don't know if he wouldn't bump out at 25 or anything, but I don't even know if that's an option. But that's what things were going through my head 2-3 weeks ago. Right now, he's back in it. He needed that win really bad, and I think he got the right guy because Andy was really open and aggressive. and that's where Iowa could be open and aggressive and rolling forward. That was a good win, I think, for Drake, don't you?
Yes. And the thing that I think stood out with Drake so much was the fact that his scores, what he was able to do, I think he ended up with 3 takedowns by the time everything was said and done. But they were off high crotch shots, right? It wasn't just relying on a slide by or anything like that. He was initiating leg attacks that I don't know if I've seen a lot out of him this year. And I don't know the reason for that, whether you just get dependent upon, you just keep going to the well too much and the well dries up a little bit. Especially, like you said, a talented weight class that very familiar with you. But it just seemed like after that first takedown, he flipped the switch and started going to leg attacks. And boy, he was scoring very well. I think if they would have managed the time a little bit better, might have been able to get another takedown there. They elected to ride him and try for a turn. But the way he was clicking, man, I think that's a good sign for Drake. Not just that he won and beat a quality wrestler, the way he did it. I think that could propel him the last 6 weeks of the season.
Well, and it started out, if you remember, Van Dijk got the first takedown. It came out real aggressive and I almost think he flamed out a little bit. But he certainly sparked Drake to reason I bring up that flamed out is you might have been right to cut him and get another takedown because I think he was tired, Van Dijk being tired. So, but I think he came out strong, was looking hard, in that better half of the first period, and then Iowa flipped the switch, and that was it. So that was good to see.
Yep. You mentioned Joey Cruz, starter last year. They bring in Dean Peterson. He's having some issues. I don't exactly know what's going on there, but he's in the probable lineups for Minnesota, so we might see him back this week. But Cruz even finished behind Keon Hernandez at the Soldier Salute. So you're almost looking like a guy that went from the guy to number 3 on the depth chart, stepping in and getting a win in a hostile environment. That says a lot about his maturity and, because some guys could be checked out and just going through the motions. He's not, and he took advantage of that. And same with Gabe Arnold. With everything that's gone on with him over the last year, wrestling at 84 last year, kind of knowing, you might be the odd man out when Ferrari joins the lineup, especially after Kennedy's finished last year. Kind of have that, is he dismissed? Is he leaving? He's coming back. What's his situation like? I think he's handled it amazingly. He's wrestled everywhere from 74 to 97, as we've said many times. He just seems to be doing all the right things right now, and he's taking advantage of opportunities when he's getting them. And him and Allred split last year, and here he steps in and beats Allred 4-1. Got a takedown in the first, and that was enough. But kudos to Gabe Arnold.
Yeah. So my comment for Gabe was, and first of all, if there's a utility award like they have in baseball, the utility player or whatever the year,
yeah,
I think Gabe would certainly be in contention for that in the National Utility Wrestler of the Year. But with Gabe, he came out and got that takedown, so I wrote down he is sort of more aggressive. I'd still like to see that kid open up more, and sure. He's got it in him. And I always said that with Joe Williams too, right? 3-time national champ. He kind of, if he'd opened up, the guy would have he already was unstoppable. But man, I think that's kind of with Gabe the same thing. I'd like to see him open up a little bit and be more aggressive, even though he did get to take down and win it against the number 7th ranked wrestler, right?
Yeah, right. Patrick Kennedy, he had a war with Christopher Minto, ended up winning 2-1 and tiebreaker 1. Just kind of he's just a tough grinder, kind of a wrestler, and that came through. One of what I know we've mentioned it before, but the consistency out of Michael Caliendo. That was a match he was favored to win. It was number 3 versus number 7, but how much of a boost is it, or an asset, especially for a team that likes to start lightest to heaviest? So you're going to have that break after 157 to come back from intermission with somebody that is essentially your leading scorer, your most offensive guy, somebody that's reliable, that not just to get wins most of the time, unless you're wrestling Mitchell Messenbrink, but to put up bonus points. I think he's scoring bonus points at like an 80% clip.
Yeah, I think I read that somewhere. Yeah, that's crazy.
So what's that do for Iowa, especially in big duels like this, when you're coming back from intermission and you've got somebody that could get you 4 or 5 points?
Well, let me back up for a minute. I want to give kudos to Kennedy for that quick escape in the sudden sudden victory, so that forced Minto to have to go on his feet and give up that point, otherwise eat up time. So he was out in 2 seconds or less, and so that was really critical there. Now let me go back to your question with the Caliendo. I'm going to add on to that. Coming out of that break, you have Caliendo, Kennedy, and Ferrari. That's a threesome to have to deal with, and so Caliendo, who's putting those points on the board, gets those 3 guys going. That is huge. And if you're taking a major off the number 7th ranked wrestler, you're not looking back. You're looking ahead. You want Messenbrink. So I like where Caliendo's at right now.
Yep. Anything else stand out to you about the Iowa duel?
I have to say that I was a little disappointed at 157. There's times when he almost looked and he was having fun, smiling, and I'm thinking, gosh, it just seems a little too relaxed to me. And then when he already had that warning, and then when he went out of bounds and didn't attempt to come in, I thought that was absolutely the right call.
Really?
And if he makes an attempt to circle on, he can fend that off, but he made no attempt. And so when you have that, when you're in overtime and you have that, that was even tiebreaker. No, it was sudden victory.
Sudden victory.
Yeah, but if you have that, you've got to make an attempt to get on. So I was disappointed with that. That's just maybe a young mental thing. I don't know.
I agree. I agree with you. The thing that even makes it that much more confusing is if you remember the exchange or the flurry right before that happened.
Yeah.
The effort and what he did to escape, to keep from giving up points on the edge there. I mean, that was a phenomenal effort. And then you turn around and just get stiff-armed off the mat like that. It's like you should reward yourself by, doing sliding to the side, a lot easier said than done,
Yeah, exactly.
But I just say that from my personal, you've done it. But it's just like you put out such a great effort, and then you essentially starve yourself from being able to reap the rewards of that by, just letting up.
Yep. So that was my disappointment, I guess, on that meet. And at heavyweight, what can you say? It's 2 warriors that just battled it out, and so that could flip the next time they wrestle. Could be just the opposite. Yep.
And then I was kind of wondering how that would be, Ferrari facing Iowa. I know, or at least I'm confident, pretty sure that Keeter and AJ kind of spent time together, and stuff when he was here training, trying to get into the program and stuff. So I kind of wondered how that would be. Thought it was kind of interesting there at the end, but pretty tame as far as anything going on.
Well, and that, that's Ferrari for not getting up and doing his splits and not, kind of grabbing Ben and having their own personal moment there. And that's, I think that's growth, and I'm glad to see that.
Yep.
Or respect.
So, 16th straight win over Nebraska. But Nebraska lately has really kind of turned it on at the end of the season for the postseason. So it's going to be interesting to see Nebraska at the start of March in a tournament format because they've got some hammers that know how to turn it on at the end they know how to peak at the end of the season.
Right, and if you remember, you and I put it to Nebraska pretty darn good last year, and and then Nebraska had a great national tournament, right?
Right.
And so
good Big Ten too.
And Big Ten's
right. So this week, Iowa, another top 10 opponent. I mean, this is given in the Big Ten, Big 12. But Iowa brings Minnesota back to Carver Hawkeye Arena. The Gophers are 8-4 overall, 2-2 in the Big Ten. Just looking at Iowa's probable lineup. So Dean Peterson and Joey Cruz are both listed at 125. There's no surprise there. It'll be interesting to see if Peterson does return. Ayala at 33. Ryder Block at 49. Caliendo, Kennedy. Gabe Arnold is in the probable lineups at 184 to face Max McAnally. Last year they faced each other, and I'm looking this up here. I think they went into overtime. McAnally won 4-1 in sudden victory. So Arnold was right there with them. Apparently, they connected over the summer and are pretty good friends. I'll have a.
Can you hear me, KJ?
Yep.
You just left off when you were saying that they had a connection this summer.
So Gabe Arnold, they had a connection this summer. Became pretty good friends. So now they're getting a chance to wrestle each other again. At 197, there's Sampson and Ludington's either or, and then Ben Keeter at heavyweight. Now, I specifically left out 141 and 157. Leading up to this duel, there had been kind of an either or with Cale Peterson also included at 141 and Victor Voinovich the third with Jordan Williams at 157. This time there is no either or. It's just Bailey and Williams. Is that a sign that they have kind of distanced themselves and kind of solidified their spots? And what's that mean for Iowa? That, maybe the competition is put to rest at those two spots.
Well, I would say this: they've distanced themselves, but I don't know that they've solidified. That still remains to be seen this month. I would say that's a guess on my part, but I definitely think if it's not an either or, then it's theirs for now. So right now, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be. But that door's still open, I think.
Two of the matches that stand out to me, obviously 184 with Arnold and McAnally. Heavyweight, where you've got Hopke from Minnesota. He's got some quality wins just on the edge of the top 10 there. And then you've got Keeter for Iowa. They're really close in rank. So that would be a good one for Gabe. It's kind of interesting. Sometimes 165 you would point to and think, oh, hey, that might be a really good match. But Caliendo has shown, I think he's put it to Sparks in their previous matches. So, even though both of them are kind of top 10 guys, I think there's a huge gap between the two.
Is Caliendo out of Minnesota?
No, he's from Illinois.
Illinois, okay.
Yeah, and the one thing that I thought was interesting, about Caliendo talking to him, not at the Soldier Salute from this season, but a year ago. We're at Extreme Arena where they play hockey. Found out he was a pretty avid hockey player growing up. That was something that he was on some traveling teams. I don't think he was necessarily all that great. He was kind of a reserve, but hockey players, doesn't matter like where you rank. If you're a hockey player, you're a hockey player, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So
I'm kind of glad to see. Sorry, I'm kind of glad to see Ayala doesn't have a ranked wrestler this week. The guy deserves it, man.
Yeah. But the one person from Minnesota, Patrick Kennedy, he talked a little bit about the, kind of growing up a Gopher fan. And then he, obviously he's been a pretty loyal Hawkeye since middle school. But he remembered being in a garage watching the Minnesota Iowa duels. He brought up Storley and Evans. Remember some of those battles that that seemed to be wrestled in a phone booth. Some of our younger viewers might not know what a phone booth is anymore, but a very, very contained area. We'll put it that way. It said Evans scored a takedown in overtime because I think Mike used to probably had an edge in that rivalry a little bit, but it was close. He said that the people he was in the garage with watching, and you could just picture it, right? TV in the garage, couple crappy couches or whatever. Going nuts when Evans ended up beating Storley, and he just remembered how exciting the duel's always been, and he's enjoyed his role being on kind of the other side. Of course, he wrestled for Jamie Height, a former Hawkeye who coached Quezon Manterville for a long time. But
KJ, I'm going to go quickly a different direction here. At that 84-pound match, Kyle always used to say he never wanted to be the popcorn match. Where everyone go get popcorn. And I got to believe that 84 is going to be that popcorn match. So hurry up and get your popcorn and get back before the sudden victory.
Yeah.
Those guys like to go sudden victory, both of them.
So you're saying they're going to be stingy, and it's going to take one move after regulation to win it.
Likely a takedown and sudden victory. That's what it seems like those would like to do.
All right. So that's Iowa. That starts at 7:00 on Friday night at Carver Hawkeye Arena. Of course, I'll have a advance here later this afternoon at the Gazette.com on Gabe Arnold, kind of being that flexible utility and trying his best to take advantage of the opportunities when they do come his way. I wouldn't doubt to see him in the postseason lineup at 197 when it's all said and done. As he said this week, wrestling's wrestling. Doesn't matter what weight.
And that's the attitude he needs to take. That's so good. I appreciate that. That's what makes me embrace him even more. So now I'll say this to KJ. That might be the third best meet of the weekend in the Big Ten. Oh, sorry, not the Big Ten, in the Division I.
Yeah.
What
do you think the other two are?
Well, the other two, I feel bad for Nebraska. Holy cow, they had to go through a gauntlet. Jeez, who'd they have last week?
Ohio State. They had Ohio State on Sunday.
Well, Iowa, Ohio State, and now they're going to. Oh no, sorry. What they have already had to do. They had Minnesota number 9, Iowa number 4, Ohio State number 2, and now Penn State number 1. Oh, so then, but then you've got Iowa State going down to wrestle Oklahoma, and then Oklahoma State. That might be the best meet of the weekend. That Iowa State Oklahoma State meet, and then also missing one, aren't I? Ohio State Nebraska. I guess we just said, right?
That was last one. Yeah.
Or no, Penn State. So, anyway,
Penn State Nebraska.
Yeah. So there's some good meets going to be happening this weekend.
Just before we get into Iowa State, Okie State, this weekend is Iowa State. UNI take their swing through Oklahoma this weekend. But Iowa State 2-0 last weekend, blanked Northern Colorado, and not so much the win itself, but what it should say too that Tom Brands became just the second coach in Iowa history to hit 300 dual wins with the Hawkeyes. Gable's at 355, and then it's Brands. But Kevin Dresser joined some elite company with that win over Northern Colorado as well. That was win number 100 for Dresser, becoming the fourth Cyclone coach to reach 100 wins.
Yep, and then he followed it up, 2 days later or whatever, or not too long later, with the win over South Dakota State at Humboldt. But he had a good weekend, and that Iowa State team's rolling. I think I'm kind of skipping all over the place here, but in this Oklahoma State meet, I think there's like all wrestlers are ranked 13th or better, at least
really.
So, and I think only there's like 2 wrestlers outside of 10. And all the rest are inside of 10. So there's going to be some battles and some matchups. And unfortunately for UNI, they took a couple of losses with losing Wyatt and Corey Land. And so.
And just want to say about Land, too, Doug Schwab confirmed that after the Arizona State meet. We mentioned it here last week, but Schwab confirmed that Land was out for the season, which – like you said, another bad blow to their lineup.
Right, 2 pretty highly ranked for UNI wrestlers. I guess if you're ranked there, you're highly ranked. But I think they're inside the 15, maybe even in the 10 for Wyatt. But so that's a big blow to UNI. So I don't look for UNI to win the Oklahoma State meet, but hopefully they can have some battles within their matches there.
Just want to touch on the South Dakota State meet. Iowa State won 29-7. Very strong performance. Iowa State was without Echemendia at 141. They were out without Vinny Zerban at 157 as well. And those were the only 2 matches that they lost. But more so than the meet, the fact that they go back to Humboldt, they use one of their home duels, and usually it's a decent duel. South Dakota State, Wisconsin has gone there. You have Purdue and Tony Ursuline, another Humboldt native, or at least a Humboldt prep, brought Purdue there. Grandview's been there, and North Dakota State. So they're bringing this duel that you could have in Hilton Coliseum in front of thousands of people. This was a top 15 matchup, and you're bringing it to your high school gym. I think that's the neatest thing. And I know Iowa used to do that. BV and South Dakota State wrestled Iowa at Spencer 1 year when I was there. It was a neat way to kind of pay back the iClub members in that area. If I remember correctly, that was kind of the motivation behind it. But I just think this is a neat deal. And this is 5 years. You saw the gym was packed. It was on Iowa Public Television, or Iowa PBS now, with Tim Johnson and Jim Miller doing the call. I just think it's a really cool event, and I really hope it keeps going.
Right. And I'm going to expand that a little bit. Kudos to the Iowa PBS that they've expanded their college series. And I had a lot of fun watching the one at Iowa Central or whatever with the girls. And
Indian Hills. Yep.
Indian Hills. And then with the band there and the gym packed. And so kudos to that. But agreed with Iowa State. I almost wonder if he might take a year off and then start doing it every year if he's going to continue to do it. So every year. So I imagine the schedule will kind of help dictate that too. But it has been pretty neat to do that.
Yeah. So, I'm sure the people of Humboldt absolutely love it. One of their own leading in a state program like that, bringing the team back to their backyard. So, pretty cool. Now you mentioned, Iowa State and UNI heading down to Oklahoma. Iowa State has Oklahoma first. That's on Friday, starting at 7 p.m. Iowa State's 8-1, 4-0 in the Big 12. Oklahoma 8-3 overall, 1-2 in the conference. And then you've got the biggie on Sunday, Iowa State at Oklahoma State. That's number 5 Oklahoma State. They're 10-1, 5-0 in the Big 12. Their one loss to Iowa. But the probable lineups, like you mentioned, I mean, just loaded with big matches from top to bottom. Can you even point to a match and really say here are one or two that's going to stand out above the rest, because all 10 could.
Right, agreed. Now let me ask you this: with Echemendia and Zurban were out last week, right? So are they back into? Are they penciled in at probables?
Echemendia is the only one listed at 141. Zurban and Kane Nockeborn are both listed at 57.
Okay,
so I'll just go ahead.
I was going to say that would be a factor then if Zurban doesn't wrestle. He would. That's a 6 versus 8. Zurban being the 8 ranked kid. Nockeborn is good, but I don't think he's up there yet. So that could be a factor, because that's when they could win with a full strength Zurban. Right. I got to go back to I think 33 and 41. Frost is ranked 5th at 33, and Forrest, his opponent's 7th. So there's another tight one. And then Vega at 41 and Echemendia is 4th. Vega is 2nd and Echemendia 4th. So depending how strong Echemendia is, if he's full strength, there's some right there. But you're right, up and down the lineup, it's going to be a fun meet.
So here are the probable lineups that Iowa State released. You've got number 13 Steve O'Pollin versus number 7 Troy Spratley. You got number 3 Evan Frost versus number 12 Jax Forrest or Ronnie Ramirez. At 141, Echemendia is ranked number 3, and Sergio Vega is ranked number 2. He's 10-0 right now. 149, you've got number 6 Jacob Frost versus number 12 Casey Swiderski, a former teammate. Then you've got Zurban and Nockeborn versus Robidoux, as you mentioned, who's ranked 6th. Number 16, Connor Uten versus number 2, D. Lockett, who has a win over Michael Caliendo this season. At 174, number 13, MJ Gaitan versus number 7, Alex Facundo. Then at 84, number 12, Isaac Dean versus number 8, Zach Ryder. At 197, number 2, Rocky Elam or CJ Carter. I would assume it would be Rocky Elam versus number 7, Cody Merrill. And then at heavyweight, top-ranked Younger Bastida, who did get taken down against South Dakota State, but then responded very dominantly after that. I just kind of giggled considering how he just took over immediately after that.
25-9 tech fall.
Yeah. It was almost comical the way he just started tending to business, I guess you could say. And he's got number 6 Connor Dissett. One thing I want to ask you. So Jax Forrest 6-0. I think there's some talk about the possibility of him. He graduated from high school at the end of 2025 and enrolled early and has been part of the lineup here early on in January. 6-0 right now. Have you seen anybody do something like that? I mean, we've seen true freshmen step in and be successful, but somebody doing that within a couple months of still being in high school?
Mid-season. And so I've never. I don't know if the rules have been around long enough to have that happen much. But everything's laxed in the last 7-8 years, it seems.
True.
And so no, I haven't seen anything like that. But we've got some incredibly good high school wrestlers right now around the country, and
Right.
I mean, like world class level sort of stuff, and so. And what weight is he at? I forget.
133. He could face Evan Frost if they put him out there on Sunday.
Okay. And I guess with the new rules, he's got what 4 or 5 meets that he could do that and not lose.
5. You can go 5 before the 6th one would burn your red shirt.
Okay. And is he considered? I mean, he came in a half a year, so
yeah.
How would that work?
Huh. It would still.
This year counts then if he.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if he gets to that 6 competition.
Right. Okay. So all right, that'd be interesting. Yep, he's definitely elite for sure, no question.
I heard some talk. I've heard some talk about the possibility of him being held out to where the Big 10 meet, or I'm sorry, the Big 12 tournament and the NCAAs would still be under 6 competitions. So would that give him an extra year of eligibility?
That would work? Oh my gosh. Jeez. It never ends on for me.
Wow. I know, right? But I'm not sure how much validity there is to that. But yeah, but Iowa State, I mean, this is a big one, and it's one they could win. It really is. But they have to have a lot of things go their way.
Yep. Well, it's number 2 versus number 3, correct?
Number 3 versus number 5.
No, I meant team-wise. Isn't Oklahoma State? Oh no, Iowa State's Oklahoma State's 3. I think. Iowa State 5.
No, it goes Penn State, Ohio State, Iowa State, Iowa, Oklahoma State in the dual rankings.
Okay, 3-5. Okay, yeah. Okay. So it'll be a good one.
So a couple of notes. Iowa State has faced Oklahoma 102 times. I think a lot of people nowadays kind of forget OU's history. But they were one of those blue blood programs. Oklahoma State's 3rd on the list, where they've wrestled Iowa State 89 times. Do you know who's in between those two?
Say it again. You got the 2.
So teams? Iowa State has dueled Oklahoma 102 times, and that's more than any other opponent.
Oh.
Oklahoma State and Iowa are tied at 89, which is 3 on the list.
Let me go with an old. I'm going to pull this out of a hat. Is it something like Army Navy or something like that?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay. Let's see.
This surprised me a little bit, even though it makes sense. They go back to the Big 8 days.
Oh, gosh. Oregon State, maybe? Were they Big 8? No, they were. Let's see. That's Big 8. It's got to be Iowa State, Missouri, I guess, huh?
Nebraska.
Oh, Nebraska and Iowa State.
Nebraska and Iowa State have dueled 98 times, which is second all time in Cyclone history.
Huh.
So just a little trivia nugget there. Cyclones are 57, 42, and 3 all time against the Sooners. Oklahoma State is 64, 22, and 3 all time against Iowa State. So Iowa State definitely have gotten the better of the Sooners. Cowboys have the edge. They've won the last 2 duels, including a 27-12 victory last year. So that'll be a fun weekend. Of course, we mentioned you and I heading down to Oklahoma as well. They're coming off a win against Arizona State. They've got Oklahoma State on Friday, and then Saturday, they've got Oklahoma. So they go Friday, Saturday, back to back. Iowa State goes Friday, Sunday.
So I don't know if in college or in high school, that would mean the guys wrestling on Sunday would get allowances. I don't know if that's the same case because
I'm not
somehow
sure.
it intertwines there like 3 meets in a row, I think. So anyway, that might help the Sunday guy wrestlers that you and I's wrestling on Friday, Saturday. So anyway, and I'm like you. I had that same comment. Oklahoma U was when I was growing up. There was 4 schools. What was it? It was Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, Iowa State, maybe just the 3. And I'm missing one. It wasn't Iowa yet when I was little. And then Iowa, of course, came on, bursting on the seams in the early 70s.
Right.
Middle 70s there.
All right. Any thoughts about you and I heading down there to OU and Okie State? The one in Stillwater, I think, is going to be a rough one. Certainly, they could match up decently with OU still, even with the injuries. Yeah,
I just think that the OU ones are going to be the one they're going to have to focus on to try and win. You're right. I don't think Oklahoma State's a possibility. So let's get some good matches there and battle hard and win some matches in that OSU. But anyway, there are a couple of good matches. When Iowa State wrestles OU, I think at 184, Isaac Dean is ranked 12th. We'll have Ryan Soldano, who's number 10. And then at 125, Poulon is 13th. He'll wrestle Hendrickson, who's 26. So there's some other ranked wrestlers in there, but that's probably the better matches there in that meet.
Good. All right. I know we got the American Rivers Conference duels that were last weekend, but before we get to that, I want to throw a blind 5 at you.
All right.
Ready for that?
You bet. What do you got? This is scary. with our age, with our generation gap between us, who knows what you're throwing at me?
So the blind 5 I have right now, it's former high school wrestlers that have gone on to become celebrities in other avenues, in other things.
Oh,
so wow. rank these 5 former high school wrestlers according to their celebrity or their fame outside of wrestling. You ready?
Yes.
Kevin Harvick. He's 10th all time in NASCAR victories with 60. He's a Daytona 500 winner and won the series championship in 2014. A Hall of Fame NASCAR driver, Kevin Harvick. Huge wrestling fan and a former wrestler himself.
And I'm not a race car guy, so this is going to be a personal thing. Okay. Some other people might rank him much higher. So, and I didn't even know he was a wrestler. So I'm going to have to go 5.
Okay. All right. Number 2, comedian Greg Warren.
Oh, yeah. Greg Warren. I love him. He's awesome. I'm going to go Warren's 3.
Do you know your connection with Greg Warren?
Matt Orton.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so yeah.
Former Jayhawk. Mm-hmm. Wrestled him in college when Warren was at Missouri and Orton was at UNI. All right. The third one, Tom Cruise.
Well, I'm a big Cruise fan in terms of his movies. So, I mean, I love his movies. I think he's awesome. So I got to put him number 1.
Okay. All right. The next one, Stephen Neal.
Yeah, Stephen Neal. Met Stephen Neal up at the Hall of Fame golf tournament a couple of years ago when he was up there a few years ago. And what a nice guy. Very successful, obviously, on the football field. You could also throw Carlton Hasselrig at me there too.
Oh yeah.
I think you got some other ones coming though. I'm going to put Neil at 4. I think your last one's going to be just above that.
The fifth one I have is Chris Pratt.
Yeah, I wondered if that was going to be. Yep. And
oh, really?
I wondered if you'd have Chris Pratt because he did what was the Helen? Didn't he produce the Helen?
Oh yeah, that's right.
And just recently, and
I actually kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, I didn't. I was hoping you'd do Pratt rather than Baldwin, who's at all the national tournaments, right?
Oh yeah.
So I'm all right with that. Yeah, Cruz, Pratt, Warren, Neal, Harvick. I might switch Neal and Warren around a bit.
Okay. I just want to mention, Stephen Neal was a 3-time Super Bowl champ for the Patriots, who are in the Super Bowl against the Seahawks. And I think he might have been on that Patriots team that beat the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Right. So kind of timely with that. The other one I was going to throw at you was Ashton Kutcher.
Yeah.
But I decided to go with Chris Pratt instead.
Okay.
Ashton Kutcher and I were actually on the same team at Wash for a brief moment. I believe he was a freshman when I was a senior, and was out before he transferred. I believe he ended up going to Clear Creek Amana, maybe.
I think that's right. Yep.
But all right, let's. I thought that was kind of fun, a little different. There with that group of former wrestlers that have become famous outside of the sport. But let's change. Let's head to the ARC. Right now, they had 2 sites, I believe, one in Dubuque, one in Lincoln, Nebraska. Cole and Luther were over at Lincoln at Nebraska Wesleyan. Good showing for Loris. Luther had a good showing. I mean, Cole wrestled well. What was your takeaway from that this weekend?
Loris swept. They beat Luther, Nebraska Wesleyan, Simpson, and Coe. They wrestled Coe. This is the second time they wrestled Coe this year, and this was a much closer meet for Coe. It's 22-16, so basically one match in there, a swing match could have been the difference maybe there. But Loris is wrestling pretty well right now, and I think Coe is too. Coe beat Simpson, Luther, and Nebraska Wesleyan pretty handily, and then Luther beat Nebraska Wesleyan and Simpson. So I kind of fell how I thought it would there on that end, actually on both ends. So then over at University of Dubuque, of course, Wartburg went 3-0 with big wins over all of them. And then UD beat BV in a 28-21 match, close one there, and then lost to Central. So that's how our local guys did. By the way, we're talking D1 big matchups this week. It's a big matchup D3 too, but it's a little unique this year. It's the Battle of the Bergs, and that's Friday, and that's up in Bloomington, Minneapolis. Been up there a couple times for that duel. And it's a fun affair. They do a good job of smoke and music and big crowds, and they're yelling at each other in a fun way. And D3 does that though. They're good about that. When we have our D3 tournaments in town here, it's fun to listen to those guys. Is it Luther? There's something. Whatever.
Oh, the Sea of Blue chant for Luther.
Yeah, and back and forth. And anyway. So this is unique this year, though, because this is the first time for a long, long time that one of them is not the national dual champion. So usually one is the national dual champ, and almost every year it seems like the other team beats them in the Battle of the Bergs. But this year they didn't wrestle because they were on opposite sides, and Roanoke, the new sheriff in town, came in and beat. In the semis, and then beat Wartburg in the finals. So this is the only time they'll meet this year. So we'll see how that one comes out.
Just a couple quick other notes. One, congratulations to Luther's Dave Mitchell. He hit 350 career dual victories when Luther beat Simpson last weekend. We talked about some of the milestone wins for Brands and Dresser. Dave Mitchell, who's an outstanding guy in his 30th season at Luther, is 350, 185, and 6 overall in what I consider the toughest D3 conference in the country. And one of his wrestlers, Bryce McDonough, earned his 100th career victory during Saturday's competition. He's ranked 7th of 174, but he's at 102 career wins now after Saturday. And one other thing I want to mention, the National Wrestling Coaches Association released their Hall of Fame inductees for Division III. They'll be honored here at the NCAA tournament in downtown Cedar Rapids in March. But two of our local guys, I guess you would say, John Ostendorp, the head coach at Co, and two-time national champ Clayton Rush are part of the 2026 class being inducted into the D3 Wrestling Hall of Fame. So that's pretty a great accomplishment and well deserved for both of them.
That's outstanding. Yep. I just pulled out my Cole College shirt. I'm going to save the punchline. So I've got a few of them, but the one of them that we got when Arizona came into town back at EB Fieldhouse. That's how long ago that was. They were wrestling, and they had Wrestling Co. And it was of course the Ozone. I thought that was pretty cool. I bought the Ozone at the Air Force duel years ago.
Yep. And now I'm going to tell this story really quickly. Remember talking to Clayton Rush, and Clayton Rush, he was somebody that gave Matt McDonough a good match when Co went down to the Iowa City duels. He was somebody in college or in high school that he committed to Co, committed to Coach Ostendorp, and then I think he went to junior national duels and wiped the floor with everybody he faced. And all of a sudden, if I remember correctly, D1 offers came flooding in. And Clayton said no. They're here with me from day one. Mm-hmm. He could have gone elsewhere, and especially in a day like today where you've got the transfer portal and people jumping from team to team, school to school. Clayton had an opportunity to go to the D1 level and said, no, I'm at home. They were here from day one. They wanted me here. I got here. I love it here. I'm staying here. I'm staying with my commitment. And that always resonated with me just because of it was somebody that was convicted and could have gone elsewhere, came to Co and had a damn good career. And now he's at Alburnett. He's got some of his guys. He coached a D1 national finalist in Tanner Sloan. And he's got guys that are have been part of the Cohawk lineup as well. So Clayton Rush always have an admiration and respect for him, the way he, stayed loyal to somebody when it could have been really easy to go elsewhere. And of course, he met his wife, his family, everything kind of stemmed from his time at Co. So he's obviously better off for it. But that I just remember that story from the past with him and how he ended up and stayed at Co.
Right, class act right there, man. And he brings an intensity and yet a calm, and he can get you fired up and going and stay calm about it too. It's just a real unique quality, and right. You can see it in his wrestlers and in his support group, his fans and his community up there. Done an excellent job.
Any other final items before we sign off on our college edition this week and our last one of January?
I guess not. We're good.
All right. So keep an eye out on our content at thegazette.com. Iowa hosting Minnesota Friday at Carver Hawkeye Arena at 7 p.m. Iowa State, UNI heading down to Oklahoma for their swing at OU and in Oklahoma State. The Battle of the Bergs and more here locally. So make sure to keep an eye on that in our content, and we'll see you next week. And Coach, go ahead and send us out.
Let's keep wrestling on the move.